So, hi. It's me here, Minnie, and the purpose of this video is not to talk about the depressing things that have been happening in the world for the last 3 months, but the point of this video, dear friends, is to talk about mental health, to be honest, especially in these trying times. Because of COVID-19, pretty much the whole world has been placed under self quarantine. We all have to just keep to ourselves in order to stop the rapid spread of this horrible, horrible virus. And if you're anything like me, and I'm an ambivert, that means you have both introverted and extroverted tendencies. Science says that everybody's always leaning more to one side than the other. So I'm more of an extrovert, but I do have a lot of ambivert characteristics. So if you're like me and you are either an ambivert with more extroverted tendencies or you're in general just an extrovert, this has been so hard. I think first and foremost, one of the things that makes it difficult is even if you're not a very social person, there's day-to-day things that you do in your life that have you going outside and being a part of society. And now that you can't do that at all, it's just really, really difficult. It's hard to figure out what the heck to do with yourself. So I'm here to talk about ways that I found, and also, parentheses, side note, I am also a person with mental health issues. I suffer from anxiety. Sometimes it's socially oriented, and sometimes it's just general anxiety. So I'm prone to having like anxiety attacks and things like that, especially when I'm not in control of situations. That doesn't make me a control freak. It just means that there's certain situations where if things are going badly and they're not in my control and I can't do anything to help or to fix the situation, I then get panic attacks. So this entire self-isolation situation, the whole corona thing in general, is very triggering. So I want to talk about ways that I try and keep my mental health in check during the self-isolation. And worse off, because we don't necessarily know how long we're going to need to do this before we see a positive decline in the number of cases as well as a decline in the number of deaths. It's kind of important to regularly check in with yourself as far as self-help and mental health issues go. So one of the ways that I've found is quite useful when it comes to just keeping everything at bay is to reorganize and clean as much as you can. And I know it seems so crazy and so manic, but cleaning helps a lot with just calming your mind down and reminding yourself that you are in control of your own environment. When you clean and you reorganize to orient things more to your taste and your style, it'll do wonders for you actually. And I kind of like, you start to really learn to enjoy it, especially if you're kind of like me, you're a person that like, it's not that I'm dirty, I'm just very disorganized. So I'll have like clothes all over the place and like, it's been hard, but I do my best to at least 2 to 3 times a week, I do a deep clean. And then just organizing and keeping things in check, I try and do at least once a day. Kind of. But aside from that, I really also enjoy, I'm an artistic person. So a lot of my artsy things like singing, shooting videos of me singing and posting them online, drawing, all those things are very useful. Working on poetry, spoken word, if that's the kind of thing you're into. If you're a writer, start working on your book. Now is the best friggin' time to do that. One thing that I've always found helps a lot with my mental health is I keep a diary. And in this diary, I make sure that as much as I can, I document my feelings, whether I am feeling euphoric and super happy or from feeling super low and super depressed. Keeping track of these things is very, very important in the long run. Also, if you're like me, I love to read. So I've been reading a lot as well. Also, obviously, doing the whole school thing, keeping up with your assignments, not falling behind. That's also really important because, when you don't have a thing, like you don't have anything that separates your workspace from your relaxation space, it can be very complicated to still keep a good work ethic and still be productive. So it's important that when you have any work to do, don't do it in bed. Like if there is a communal space in your house, for example, if you have a dining room, go do the work in there. If you have a desk in your room, do the work there. For goodness sake, if it means you sit in the corner of your room and do your work there, do your work there. But just try and separate your workspace from your English. Where you at? Try and separate your workspace from your relaxation space. It's so important. It'll help you also, like, once you get into your relaxation space, small as it may be, your mind switches off and you're not thinking about stress and you're not thinking about things that make you exhausted. I think I'm going like a mile a minute right now, but just try and keep up with me. Aside from that, I think it's also important to keep yourself informed, not only with bad news about how many people are infected, how many people are dying, try and keep yourself connected to the people that love you, the people that care about you. Being in constant connection with my family has helped a lot, because when I know how they're doing, because I'm not really worried about myself. I can't be. I don't know. I'm just not worried about myself. Like, not that I think I'm immune to this, but I already know that I'm taking the measures that need to be taken to protect myself and the people that I live with. But when I know that my family are also doing the same thing, they're taking care of themselves, taking care of their emotional and mental health, that gives me a lot of comfort as well. And most importantly, it's good to, there was one more thing I wanted to say, and now I can't remember what it is. Don't spend too much time in front of screens. Please don't do that to yourself. Even if you're not reading about the virus and its progression and all of that stuff, even just spending way too much time watching your Netflix series or YouTube series or whatever it is that you usually do on your computer, don't spend too much time on screens. That also increases your risk of like your mental health declining. You really don't need those problems in your life. But yeah, so far I think those are the best tips that I could give you for dealing with life in quarantine. Please remember that you're not alone. We are all going through this. And also, the best news ever is, remember that it's not permanent. It may not be next week, it may not be the week after, but it's going to end eventually and everything will be okay. So, love and light. I hope you guys keep productive, keep healthy, keep happy, take care of yourselves and take care of those around you. Wash your hands, and most importantly, please stay home. I know it's hard, but we have to do it. So, that's all from me.